let's move to the next presentation. I would like to invite here on our virtual stage my friend Jassivan Carvalho from Tropic, Ecuador. Jassi, the microphone is yours. Welcome, my friend.
Oi, Marcelo. Bom dia. Buenos dias. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, for the ones who don't know me, my name is Jassi from Tropic. Jassivan, only if you're mad at me, Marcelo, please. It's good to be here again, guys. It's great to see everybody. And well, it's gonna be hard after seeing those mojitos and learning about this new rum. I think John stole all of the attention. So now I'm gonna be struggling to bring everyone back to Ecuador. Fantastic projects, great presentations. Jan, my good friend Jan. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you guys at Remote for organizing and keeping the community together. So just to confirm if you're seeing my screen, if it's in full presentation, because I do have my Jassi
Not full screen.
No?
Not full screen, no.
All right, let me just a second here. Right.
Not yet.
Okay. Soon.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Let's try again.
Yes. Now, perfect.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, Marcelo, Roberto, you've been pushing me around. You were saying, well, let's think outside the box. Let's be bold. Let's share some of your stories and of success and failure. So we decided to change our presentation a little bit, just to share a little bit of our own story, right? We've been talking a lot for the past 14 months about Tropic and what we do as a full service DMC in Ecuador. And but there's not enough time to share the beginning. So we decided to go back 25 years ago to talk a little bit of where it all started, right? And yeah, once upon a time in 1994, there was an experiment, right? We wanted to prove that ecotourism could be used as a tool for conservation. We didn't start off, as most of you know, as a traditional tour operator or DMC. We started off as a bunch of guys trying to support a remote indigenous tribe who were fighting against extractive industries from this fragile ecosystem and territory that is the Ecuadorian Amazon. So the whole idea was to try and engage with a remote community, you know, and try and create the possibility for them to bring and raise their voices to the world and share the concerns they had about this invasion and the potential to lose their territory and culture. So this is the Waorani people, a remote indigenous tribe in the Ecuadorian Amazon, and the last contacted Ecuadorian indigenous nation, right? So this is a very important part of this story. And we were very lucky and honored to be invited to be part of this community. And that was kind of our first 10 years of operations, right? For the first 10 years, we were not a proper sustainable business. We were more of a, like I said, an experiment. We were running a bunch of very few expeditions into this territory, learning how to do remote travel, learning about the most complex logistics, learning about how to do responsible travel in remote areas, you know, with all of the logistics that involves, but especially how to engage with this community that we're experimented everything so new, and how to facilitate, you know, this meaningful connection between international travelers and a remote indigenous community. And honestly, that's probably the most fascinating part of our story. Those first 10 years were, you know, incredible. The possibility to do this journey, to camp on banks of rivers, visiting different communities, paddle downriver, no motors, you know, it's probably the most amazing way of seeing the rainforest through the eyes of a local community, right? So it all started as a remote adventure camping, right? And then suddenly and now towards the 2004 and 5, we realized that that was a terrible business idea, right? And we couldn't live another 10 years out of those expeditions. And we figured that, you know, in order to be able to properly do an ecotourism venture and make an impact and transform it to a proper tool for conservation, we needed to go a little bit beyond of what the experience was all about, but also to bring conditions to this territory to create a more permanent operation that in a way would highlight, you know, the beauty of this culture, would enhance the traveler's experience, but at the same time will provide, you know, the comfort and the security that the eco-travelers of the 2000s demanded, as a difference from the 90s ecotourism travelers, right? So we ended up building this beautiful little lodge in the middle of the Amazon rainforest called the Waurani Eco Lodge, with the whole idea to create, you know, this cultural experience that ended up being a tremendous success, right? We ended up having 22 years of you know, this successful business model with the lodge. We started operations in 2007. We ended up creating an indigenous association of 5 local communities. We ended up creating 55,000 hectares of primary rainforest reserve called the Yame Reserve. You know, we gain a lot of recognitions around the world, around articles about the story, the struggle, you know, the fight against the oil industry, especially, you know, multiple awards. But honestly, and this is a review from clients and experts from all over the world, probably one of the top 5 cultural experiences, you know, to have. You know, it was a really special thing to live. You know, and the benefits from the local communities, like everybody else already shared, you know, it's all about the local community. If we want to have an impact, we have to incorporate the local communities into our business models. We had around 80 families living out of the ecotourism venture and the lodge. We provided, you know, free flights, you know, from our travelers flying into this remote territory. The community get free rides back into the towns to go and to the health, to get supplies, etc. We attended over 1,500 passengers a year. We only had 5 little cabins, you know, so it was a very, very intimate experience. And we had, you know, it was only a minimum 3-night stay, so you couldn't go for less time. And we got travelers from all over the world during the more or less 10 years that the Eco Lodge and venture survived. And then talking about Roberto as failures, right? This is probably the first one we had out of quite a few over 25 years of operations. We lost everything back in 2016, between 2016 and 2017. We lost the battle. You know, a Chinese oil company got access and rights to do exploitation for oil in the exact same territory where we dedicated 20 years of our story and lives to create this reserve. So unfortunately, because the venture that we were trying to create was to showcase how a sustainable business like ecotourism could fight an extractive industry like the oil, you know, it was impossible for us to, you know, to cooperate and live together with the local community, an oil company, you know, invading a space where we developed our trails and infrastructure. So unfortunately, we needed to close the lodge, right? And I personally thought that was the end for us, right? I said, okay, this is it. You know, let's do something different. It's time to close shop, you know, and do something else. And for more details, guys, you can check waurani.com, the whole story there. There is a little video that can showcase, you know, the end of this story. But our story continued as a company, right? We had during that period of time, we realized that we had a lot more things going on. By then, we were already working in the Galapagos Islands, trying to develop a new way of doing tourism in the islands as well, supporting local communities. We started, you know, between 2008 and 10, we started trying to find a way to work in the Galapagos in a different fashion that used to be known tourism in the Galapagos, which is, you know, mostly cruising. So we engaged with the local communities around that period of time, trying to highlight, you know, the beauty of sharing and experiencing a destination, such a special destination like the Galapagos, through the eyes of the locals, being hosted by the locals, and most importantly, supporting local ventures and leaving, you know, money behind within the local community. Our first venture was in Floriana Island, you know, the smallest island in the Galapagos, inhabited island. 150 people and 10 dogs was what I counted the first time I went there. And we immediately engaged with one family, one beautiful family, the Cruz family, who owned the Floriana Lava Lodge, and we immediately fell in love with each other and decided to do this together. And so we started working with them, developing, you know, the offer and facilitating for people to see this beautiful island and learning about the settlers of the Galapagos, which is, you know, for us what Floriana is all about. And we ended up helping the community of Floriana, creating the first community tourism tour operator in the Galapagos, which is, you know, the only one until now. And we open, you know, a trail and develop a range of excursions that are managed by the local community as a whole and not with individuals. And so that was pretty awesome, right? And then from the Amazon, we went to the Galapagos, and I think Ed Payne, I saw it around here on the presentation. He was one of the first people that went with me. I think I remember speaking with Ed on a beach in Isabela, talking about land-based tourism. He won't let me lie about this. And since then, we're still, you know, developing these type of ventures in the Galapagos. I'm gonna tell a little bit about the latest that we're doing in the Galapagos. But then we decided to do something in the Andes, right? That was the region and the ecosystem of our beautiful and diverse little country. And in 2015, we ended up buying this beautiful mountain lodge right in front of this amazing volcano called Cotopaxi, the highest active volcano in the world, and part of for any Ecuador postcard in the Andes. And guess what, guys? Cotopaxi decided to start an eruption process after, I think, 3 months. We bought the lodge, so that was kind of another big crisis. And I said, oh my God, this is, you know, here we go again, you know, another lodge, and we're gonna close, and this is gonna be very soon, you know, 3 months right after we bought it. So luckily it was not permanent, you know. We did close it for around 6 or 9 months. Survived again, you know, ended up holding on tight and learning, you know, how we can be resilient, you know, part of our initial stories of resiliency. And nowadays, Chilcabamba Mountain Lodge, it's thriving, and we are, you know, again, trying to do the same model, creating a base camp that enables for us to operate around the region, where we can engage into some community work, you know, supporting the local communities, supporting our neighbors, you know, community members, to offer services for the lodge. The lodge only employs people from the local community, and we also have a range of activities that can be done with local suppliers, like Rafael here, our good friend, who offers horseback riding inside the national park, which is, you know, pretty cool. And we're also involved in conservation initiatives in the Andes, around Chilcabamba. We actually invited, you know, the Nature Conservancy, which is an international NGO that works around here, and one big group of companies called Corporación Favorita, as well as the water fund for the city of Quito, because funny enough, 30 or 40% of the water that comes to the city of Quito, the capital of Ecuador, comes from these mountains around Chilcabamba. So we quickly learned about that because of the concerns during the eruption that Quito was going to be out of water. So we started to learn where the water from Quito comes from, and it happens to be around Chilcabamba Mountain Lodge. So I said, well, we better do something about this if the volcano doesn't blow, right? And it didn't blow, and we ended up learning a lot about these headwaters in the Andes, bringing water for the city, and decided to get a lot more involved into the conservation of the rivers that bring this water, and have been doing lots of conservation work and reforestation programs with this fund that preserves the watersheds for the city of Quito, along with local partners from the private sector. So that's been really cool, and we always get very excited about learning, of the possibilities to support conservation initiatives and have fun, you know, and share and enjoy these beautiful remote areas. And most recently, going back to the Galapagos, you know, we fell in love with a story, you know, the story of Polo and Jackie. These are our latest local hosts and partners at the Galapagos Magic Camp. And this is a couple, a family that have devoted their lives to preserve what the Galapagos experience should be all about, right? It should be all about nature. It should be all about the wildlife, and should be all about interacting in a more, you know, a natural way with the surrounding environment, right? And this is what the Galapagos Magic is all about. We obviously started promoting it in 2019, and you all know what happened in 2020. So here we go again, you know, another major crisis. This being local, this not hasn't been a local crisis. I think we all learned a great deal about this pandemic. But yeah, so we are now living the new beginnings of this absolutely beautiful, authentic and unique way to experience, you know, the Galapagos Wilderness, which is, you know, a wilderness tented camp in the highlands of Santa Cruz Island, with that, first of all, is a sanctuary of wild giant tortoises, right? And then the possibility to stay on this light infrastructure and spend the night and spend a lot more time with this beautiful wildlife and understanding what the Galapagos experience should be all about, right? So again, right, going back to the pandemic story, we back in 2020, we were launching, actually we did launch, and then we took a tone down on the Galapagos Forest Initiative, which was a project sponsored by the Galapagos Magic and Tropic, which is the first private, you know, ecotourism enterprise investing on a restoration of the original habitat of the giant tortoises, right? So this is something new. We're going to be resuming as soon as the volumes enable for us to reopen the lodge, which is right now, it's happening, right? Little by little, we are recuperating the demand for Ecuador and the Galapagos post-COVID. And we have separated 12 hectares of this private reserve to do a reforestation program. We're looking at bringing back 48,000 to 50,000 endemic trees, you know, first of all, to try and enhance the experience of our clients, seeing that their money is going also to protect this unique ecosystem, but at the same time provide a better, you know, environment for the local wildlife to live, you know, and roam around freely. But at the same time showcase again that ecotourism can be used as a tool for conservation and not only, you know, as a business. That is what sustainable travel should be all about. So yeah, and this is us nowadays, guys. So you see, we lost a lodge in the Amazon. Our lodge in the Andes almost blew because of a little volcano that started to erupt. And then a pandemic came by, and we're still here, right? Tropics is still thriving. We are, I'm very proud to say that we are, you know, one of the leading boutique tour operators and DMCs. You know, we have a very strong team. We've been able to keep our staff. We have our office in Quito, our small operations office in the Galapagos. We're still doing what we do. I think most of you have heard from us during this year. You better have, because we haven't stopped sharing updates and news, and I'm not gonna go about those details. I think it was important to share more about, you know, how resilient we can all be. I think that's kind of the message that we wanted to bring, right? This seems still like a rough period. You know, this is about thinking about the rebirth of our business, right? And the renewal. We have lived these moments before, and each time, even though it was really hard and sad, and you feel like, you know, it's the end of the world, in the end of the day, the moment passes, and we survive, and we come up with more energy and more ideas, and we adapt. And this is, I think, is the message for everybody. I see a lot of our colleagues, tour operators and DMCs from the region here, and also some clients from different parts of the world. And I think the story is the same for everybody. We are all in the process of figuring things out. But I can say, you know, that we're gonna make it. We have made it a few times before. And we are very excited about what's coming, right? And we are definitely, we never stop, right? We're always thinking about new things to do. we have a lot of plans for the next several years. We already have a proper serious planning for our next failures, right? So now we are happy to announce now, officially, that coming soon we will be starting operations in other remote areas, in natural areas of the continent. So we're looking at projects in Patagonia, in the Andes highlands of Peru, in the Amazon of Brazil, and obviously in the Galapagos Islands. We are, as I said, resuming something that we had to put on hold even before it began. So, this is our story at Tropic. Is a constant evolution, is a constant pursuit for creating new things, meaningful experiences, but also meaningful experiences for our local partners. And this is a moment after 25 years to start sharing that methodology with other people in other countries. So I am super excited to share that. And after being riding this boat, this rough in these rough seas of 2020, I'm super happy to see the land and see other lands, and being able to feel inspired and happy about our next chapters. So yeah, so that's you asked for something different, Roberto. There you go.
That's
I
great,
hope you like
Jassy. I think you were exactly what we were expecting for, even a little bit more. Perfect. Jassy,
right,
we are running out of time, but I would like just to say two things for you. One is that we know each other at least for 10 years, but especially on the last 5 years, we've been in touch a lot. But but even though I didn't know like 70% of this background of this of the path you've been through. And the last thing is that I heard that from a friend once, and it's still in my mind, and I use almost like a mantra, is that if you are invited to be a partner at a new business, you should never accept to partner with someone that never failed before. So I think you are on the right way. It was a very inspiring presentation. That's exactly what we are looking for. So thank you very much. And now you're gonna move to the next one. So see you soon, Jassy.